Hello, my friends. Today's date is February the 16th, and this is a reading for you if this is your birth date. This is a four card pull, a general energy card for the year, a challenge you might face this year, an action to take to stay in balance, and an outcome or synopsis card. This is the general energy card of the year, the Eternal Child. What does this refer to or ask you to reflect upon? Well, the Eternal Child to me is that effervescent spark inside of each of us that what we are born with, that we come into this world with in this inquisitive, open, astounded, bright-eyed, happy being that we come into this body with, and oftentimes society and family and all the restrictions of who we are and where we are and how we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to define ourselves starts to limit us. But those people with the eternal child at their center maintain the spark of mirth, maintain the spark of joy, maintain the spark of light, maintain the spark of adventure, maintain the spark of trusting intuition and trusting in something bigger than themselves that is leading them, helping them, assisting them. The eternal child, I think, recognizes their divinity and understands that to give over to the negativity is really not what they can do and is not what they want and does not serve them. And the forays into that can be, draw them down, but most of the time they're able to pick themselves back up and laugh and play and adventure and go smoothly through many hurdles and humps that most people get floored by. There's an effervescence, there's a charisma, there's a joy, a pervasive joy, there's a mirthfulness. And when the eternal child forgets that they are the eternal child, which most of us do, we fall into our traps, we fall into our holes, we fall into our negativities, we fall into our pain, we fall into our, guilts and shames and fall into our depressions and our heavy grief. So the eternal child is what we need to return to. And this is what this year is asking you to remember, that you need to remember your eternal child. You have to remember that you can be a fool and play a fool and trust in that foolish part of yourself that's willing to be vulnerable and willing to take chances and willing to look for joy in new places and new directions and willing to be open to life coming as an adventure. And sure, it's full of pain, but it's also full of joy and it's full of love and it's full of inspiration if you allow it to be. But you have to make your head up. You have to make your choice to choose that and see that even when things are challenging. And what's your challenge card? Well, it's justice. And justice is the belief that you're not. The challenge in the justice card is to feel like you're worthy, is to feel like you're worthy of having something better and happier in your life. And you might feel like life or someone or something or some institution or some group is judging you wrongly and harshly and meanly. And you might feel like you're a victim to that analysis and that justice might not be available to you. The evening of things, the balancing of things, the righteous nature of things might not feel like it's available to you, and there might be a sense of great, depression that comes out of that, or anger that comes out of that, or fear that comes out of that, or resentment that comes out of that, or guilt and shame that comes out of that, because on some level you may blame yourself for your situations at hand. But um, that is a challenge, and that is a challenge all of us face on some level. But this is a sense of uh, don't give over into the negativity. Don't give over into the futility, the impossibility of things. Don't give over into the belief that life works against you and people work against you and nothing's going to be good and no one's ever going to be kind, and you're never going to be kind to yourself because maybe you don't feel like you're worthy of being kind to on some level. So you have to look at all those things, and that's a process. That's a process. And what is the best thing that you can do to keep yourself balanced? Well, it is beaver. And beaver is cooperation with others, building community. Beaver gets together with one other beaver and starts to dam up a river and creates a family, and not only that, creates a whole ecosystem once they dam that river up, where a whole bunch of new families can live and a whole bunch of new resources can be found, and things can come to one point where it can feed a whole bunch of different ideas and feed a whole bunch of different people and animals and others. And the beaver is noted for cooperation, working together to build something. So, what is your action to take? Well, I think working with other people, working, uh, giving of yourself, sharing of yourself will always pull you out of the pain of feeling like there's no justice and there's no worthiness, and that you're a bad being, or that somebody else thinks you're a bad being, and you're not worth anything. So by working with others, by cooperating to build something bigger than yourself, by moving into something that 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 feeds your soul, can you start to shift this dynamic again? And can you remember that you have an eternal child inside of you that does like to play, that likes to give themselves over to sharing joy, that does like to see the happiness on other people's faces as much as they want to see the happiness on their own face, on your own face, that you can find joy by sharing with others, that you can find love by sharing with others, that you can find justice by sharing with others. And maybe you won't exactly get the justice you want in the time that you want it, but you have to keep, if you work on this cooperation of building and you keep opening yourself up to the joys again in the world, in your life, in your connections, in your inspirations, then do you remember that this is, just the human condition, and we're all going to go through this, and everything will change to something new, and you're not stuck at the bottom of some loop and can't get out. That you're going to have your highs and your lows, and justice will come to you in the way that it's supposed to come to you, in the time that it's supposed to come to you, in the place that it's supposed to come to you. So be at peace, be at rest, be at play. Give yourself some joy, uh, and trust that you're doing the right thing at the right time, and you don't have to be mean to yourself. You rather learn to laugh at yourself. The eternal child learns to laugh at themselves, and to laugh at their pain, and to laugh at their smallness, and to laugh at their things that keep them stuck, because the eternal child is not a pessimist. They're an optimist, and they like the joy and the life and the play and the enthusiasm of a life well spent, and a life that transcends the limitations and the pains that one brings to it. Home Atakuyasin, blessed be.